My name is Julian Cross, and I'm 33 years old. 6 years ago, I finished law school and married the woman I thought would stand beside me forever, Marissa Lane. She was sharp, attractive, and at first, she seemed to believe in me. We kept it simple. A modest ceremony in Fairbend, Montana, surrounded by close family and a few friends. At the time, it felt like the start of everything. But real life was less forgiving. The legal market in 2019 chewed up fresh graduates, and the best I could land was an entry role at a tiny downtown office, grinding through traffic cases and petty disputes. My paycheck was just $34,000 a year, nowhere close to the glossy images people have of courtroom drama from TV. Marissa worked as a public relations assistant for a small design firm, earning about $40,000 herself. Together, we scraped by in a cramped one-bedroom at Pinewood Towers, rent swallowing $1,700 each month. Our ride was a battered mid-size sedan I'd picked up for $10,000 during my last year of school. For the first 4 years, she played the part of the supportive wife. "We're building a future, Julian," she'd remind me when I worked late nights or studied for hearings. "It's just a phase. Your time will come." But by year 5, her patience was running thin. Little comments over dinner became heavier every week. While we sat at our worn-out sofa with bowls of noodles or boxed mac and cheese, she'd sigh about how the Creightons had just bought a brand-new luxury sedan. "Evan Gray doesn't even have a degree," she pointed out one night, "and he's pulling in 70 grand. I tried to explain. Careers in law don't shoot up overnight. You start small, build a reputation, maybe make a partner, or someday run your own practice. It takes endurance, I told her. "Endurance?" she echoed, her tone turning frosted. "How much longer do you expect me to wait?" By our 6th anniversary in May 2026, her discontent was impossible to ignore. Every overdue bill, every declined card, even a can of soup became proof of my failures. One Wednesday evening in August, she dropped the line that cut deepest. "I'm done living paycheck to paycheck." "I'm doing everything I can," I told her, voice steady. "The Creighton case might bring in a settlement. That could help us." She scoffed. "Help us what? Buy brand-name cereal?" Then, almost as an afterthought, she added, "I'm 29 now, Julian. I don't want to be poor anymore." The word poor hung in the air like poison. 5 weeks later, on a quiet Friday morning in late September, she slid a tan legal folder across the table while I sipped from my cracked coffee cup. My stomach already knew what it was. "Divorce papers," she said flatly. "I've already signed." I stared at the documents. Irreconcilable differences, minimal assets, no alimony, cold legal language I could parse with ease, but as a husband, the weight of it drowned me. "You're holding me back, Julian," she added, eyes fixed anywhere but on me. I forced my coffee down and asked, "Is there someone else?" Her silence said enough. Later that day, I noticed the papers bore the stamp of Hale Turner Law Group, a mid-tier family law firm downtown. The retainer alone was $2,400, money she didn't have. "Who's paying for this?" I asked, when she returned from her run, wiping sweat from her forehead. "Does it matter?" she replied. "It matters to me." She sighed. "A friend helped." A friend. Right. That evening, while she claimed she was at her so-called book club, something new she'd started attending 3 months earlier, I did what any suspicious spouse would do. I pulled up our Horizon mobile account and scrolled through her call history. One number kept appearing again and again. On our Horizon mobile account, one number lit up the records again and again. Dozens of calls, especially in the last 2 months. Curiosity burned through me, so I traced it back. The name came up clear. Victor Hale, age 34. A quick search on CareerLink filled in the rest. Senior financial advisor at Eastern Financial Group, dressed sharp in his profile photo, leaning against a sleek black luxury sedan. I sat frozen at the kitchen table, the pieces aligning faster than I wanted them to. The sudden book club nights, the new outfits she somehow afforded, the way she'd started styling her hair like she was going to a gala instead of the office. When Marissa came home that evening, I hadn't moved. The divorce papers were spread out in front of me like an autopsy report. She dropped her purse on the counter and asked, "So, have you made up your mind?" "First, I need answers," I said, my voice calm. "About Victor Hale." Her face was drained of color. For the first time in months, she looked rattled. "How do you—" She cut herself off, realizing too late. "Phone records," I explained evenly. 60 calls this month. His office is 10 blocks from yours." Her arms crossed in defense. "We're just friends." "Friends don't cover each other's legal bills," I countered. "He knows what I'm going through," she shot back, her voice firm as she clung to the lie. "He went through a messy divorce 4 years ago. He's only being supportive." "Supportive?" I echoed, the word tasting like ash. "Nothing physical has happened," she rushed out, her voice wavering. I could see the truth in her eyes, or rather, the truth she didn't want to admit. "But you wanted it to," I said. It wasn't a question. She didn't deny it. I rose from the table and stepped into the bedroom. From my dresser drawer, I pulled out a small slip, my lottery ticket, the same fictional numbers I'd marked down every week for the last 4 years: 06, 12, 19, 08, 27, Powerball, 11. Each digit was tied to something that once mattered. Her birthday, mine, our wedding day, my law school graduation, the number of days it took to pass the bar, even the apartment number of our first place. "You know what's ironic?" I called out. She lingered in the kitchen. "What?" "I've played these numbers since the day we married. Every week. About $60 a year. Money you always said I was throwing away." I walked back, holding the ticket between 2 fingers. I told myself it was an investment in us, that someday, maybe, luck would buy us the life you wanted so badly. Her eyes flicked to the ticket, then back at me, guilt and defiance tangled on her face. "But someday isn't good enough for you," I said. "You want it right now, with someone who already has it." I picked up a Value Mart pen from the table and clicked it open. "You're right about one thing," I told her. "I am a dead weight. At least, to you." The sound of my signature dragging across the papers filled the silence, broken only by the low hum of the fridge. When I finished, I placed the pen down and looked at her. "There, you're free." Tears streaked down her face. I couldn't tell if they were real or just another performance. "Julian, please." "Please what? Fight for a marriage you already abandoned? Compete with a man who makes more in a month than I make in half a year?" I folded the papers, slid them across the table. "Take these to your friend Victor. He'll know where to file them." That night, she packed 2 suitcases and left for her sister's apartment in Silvergate. The mid-size sedan stayed in the lot. The title was in my name, after all. I sat in the hollow silence of Pinewood Towers, clutching that lottery slip, staring at a future I once believed in but would never see. The next morning was Saturday, September 14th, 2026. I'll never forget that date. September 14th, 2026. It branded itself into my life like fire. I woke up in a bed that felt far too large, inside an apartment that suddenly seemed hollow. No voice in the hallway, no shared laughter over burnt toast, not even an argument about who'd forgotten the coffee filters. I poured myself a cup of instant coffee, the last of it, and sat where the divorce papers had been scattered the night before. On the table lay the crumpled lottery slip, still bent from how hard I'd clenched it. My phone buzzed. A text from my boss. Creighton settlement fell through. The plaintiff backed out. See you Monday. Another door slamming shut. Even my biggest case of the year had deserted me. I smoothed the ticket flat again. Those numbers. 06, 12, 19, 08, 27, Powerball 11. Once carried memories of birthdays, anniversaries, and milestones. To Marissa, they meant nothing now, but to me, they still held weight. Without thinking, I grabbed my keys and drove straight to the quick stop on Fax Avenue. the same place I'd gone every week for 4 years. Luis Ortega, the clerk, gave me his usual nod. The regular, Julian? I slid $6 across the counter. Not this time. Manual entry. I carefully marked down the numbers again, folded the ticket into my wallet beside $28 in cash and my maxed-out credit cards. The day slipped away in silence. I boxed up the rest of Marissa's belongings, the family heirloom pendant she'd forgotten, her old books, even the anniversary keepsake mug I'd bought on our second year together. The irony wasn't lost on me as I stacked the boxes by the door. By Sunday evening, 9:45 p.m., I was on the worn-out sofa, ticket in hand, a dusty glass soda beside me. The Cityline news broadcast flickered on. Good evening, Riverbend. Tonight's jackpot is $86 million. The machine spun, white balls tumbling inside. First number, 6. My pulse. I jumped. Her birthday. Second, 12. Mine. Third, 19. The date of our wedding. Fourth, 8. The day I graduated law school. Fifth, 27. The number of days it took me to pass the bar. And the Powerball, 11. Our first apartment number in Pinewood Towers. I stared at the screen, at the ticket, back at the screen. Every number matched, perfectly. The soda slipped from my hand and splashed across the floor, but I didn't care. I was holding $86 million on a single slip of paper, enough to erase every debt, enough to buy a house, to open my own practice, to live without counting pennies for the rest of my life. One day after she walked away, the universe handed me everything she'd claimed I could never provide. I laughed. Not the kind born of joy, but the kind that bursts out when fate's cruelty feels too sharp to believe. My phone buzzed again. A message lit up the screen. It was from Marissa. I left my heirloom pendant in the jewelry case on the dresser. Can I stop by tomorrow? Her text was short. Can I stop by tomorrow to grab the pendant? I looked at the glowing screen, then at the lottery slip folded inside my wallet. She wanted a trinket worth maybe $200 in a pawn shop. She had no idea that by the time she walked through my door, I'd be holding $86 million in my hands. Money she had signed away, legally and irreversibly, just 24 hours too soon. Sunday morning, the first thing I did was check the ticket. Still there. Still real. I called the statewide lottery office, only to hear their weekend recording confirm the winning numbers. I was officially the sole winner of the largest jackpot in Montana that year. I spent hours researching tax laws, lump sum calculations, media coverage. My lawyer's brain took over, outlining exactly how to stay quiet and move carefully. Even after taxes, the payout would be $51 million, still more wealth than I'd ever imagined. At 2 p.m., the knock came. Marissa stood there, polished like she belonged to another world. Her hair styled, her dress elegant, probably a gift from Victor Hale. She smelled of perfume that cost more than our old grocery budget. The ring's on the counter, I said, stepping aside. She crossed the room, picked up the small jewelry case, and glanced at the boxes I'd lined neatly by the door. I packed the rest of your things, I told her. Books, albums, that coffee mug collection you started in college. Her voice softened. That was thoughtful. We stood in uneasy silence until she finally said, Julian, I want you to know leaving wasn't easy. I didn't want to do this. I felt I had to. I understand, I answered evenly. Do you? Because I worry you think I'm just... Marissa, I cut in gently. You don't owe me an explanation. We wanted different lives. That's all. She looked startled. I think she'd expected rage, pleading, maybe a scene. Instead, I was calm. Are you going to be okay? She asked carefully. Financially, I mean. The irony almost made me laugh. I'll be fine, I said, lips curling into a grin. Better than fine. She frowned, puzzled by my confidence. I just worry about you keeping this place alone. The lease is up in 2 months, I replied. I'm already looking at something bigger. In truth, My mind was already shopping estates in Millstone Heights, the kind of neighborhood where Victor probably parked his luxury car. My phone buzzed with a message from Travis Reed. Dude, someone in Riverbend hit the Powerball. 86 million. Can you imagine? I glanced at the text, then at Marissa. She was still holding the case, watching me. I should go, she said. Victor's taking me to lunch at the Grandview Hotel. The Sunday buffet there cost more than we'd once spent on a week's groceries. That sounds nice, I said smoothly. Tell him congratulations on it. This new relationship. Her eyes widened. Julian, It's okay, I said. Really. She started toward the door, more unsettled than I'd seen her in months. One more thing, I added as she reached for the handle. She turned. You might want to check last night's lottery numbers, just out of curiosity. Her brow furrowed. Why? Those same numbers I played every week, the ones you called a waste of money. I ran them one more time yesterday. Her face was drained of color. You didn't. I did. The jewelry case slipped from her fingers, the family heirloom pendant tumbling across the hardwood. She didn't even bend to pick it up. You're lying, she whispered. I opened my phone, showed her Travis's text, then the statewide lottery office page with the winning numbers flashing in bold. Her eyes darted between me and the screen. When? She croaked. Friday night, about 20 minutes after you left for Silvergate. Her hands trembled as she dropped into a chair. One day. Just one day. Oh my God. Julian. We can fix this. The papers aren't filed yet. We can... No. My voice was steady, final. We can't. But this changes everything, she pleaded. I shook my head. Not in the way you think. This doesn't change a thing, Marissa, I told her. You made your decision based on who you believed I was, and what you thought I couldn't give you. Money doesn't rewrite that truth. Please, she begged, tears spilling freely now. We can work this out. I was scared. I didn't know what the future would look like, but now I see a different future, I finished for her. One worth $86 million. I've always cared for you, Julian, she whispered. I opened the door. No, you cared for the comfort of stability. That's not the same thing. Her shoulders sank. She knew it was over. I'll file the papers Monday, I said quietly. By Tuesday, you'll be free to chase the lie. Fee you wanted. At the threshold, she stopped. I'm sorry. I know, I replied. So am I. When the door clicked shut behind her, I picked the family heirloom pendant off the floor and set it on the counter. She'd come for it eventually. A month has passed since that night, and my life barely resembles what it was. The legal work to open my own practice in downtown Riverbend is almost done. I've secured office space on the 14th floor of a building 3 blocks from Victor Hale's office. From my windows, I'll see the underground lot where he parks that black sedan. I drive a luxury electric car now, not to prove anything, simply because I can. Marissa and Victor are still together, at least on paper, but word through mutual acquaintances is that his finances aren't as untouchable as she thought. Market swings have chewed into his leveraged portfolio, leaving cracks in the image she traded everything for. She's tried reaching out twice. I didn't answer. Sometimes I think back to that Friday evening. If I'd bought the ticket a day later, or if she'd left a day later, everything would have unfolded differently. But timing is its own law. You don't control it. You only control your response. And I chose to build the life I'd dreamed of, just with resources I never expected. The firm is already drawing clients. I bought a home in Millstone Heights, and last month I funded a scholarship for first-generation law students at Crestview University Hall. Marissa got exactly what she demanded. Freedom from a marriage she believed was holding her back. She just didn't get the upgrade she imagined. As for me, I learned revenge doesn't always require action. Sometimes the sweetest justice is simply living well while those who doubted you watch from the sidelines, realizing the cost of what they walked away from. The universe has its jokes, and occasionally it delivers justice too.